Okay, UG art students, for the second part of the op art project that we are working on, we are going to finish filling in the pattern with the black and white stripes on our op art piece, like this here. This one here is still unfinished, but I want you to go ahead and finish that up if you haven't done so already. And after that, we are going to add color to the piece. Now, this particular piece here was done with markers, and then I used crayon to add the dark value along the sides of the piece, and then I used a white crayon on top of that, and I'm going to show you how to add that value and the highlights to your piece. Now, I use markers for this piece, for the base of it. You can just use crayons if that's what you have at home, or color pencils. Okay, so let's go over our learning target, so then we can start the project. Our learning target for today is I'll learn about op art so I can create a piece that shows movement by using lines, shapes, and color. And our success criteria is I know I got it when I have created an op art piece by repeating convex lines above and below the eye level line. Most of us did this last week, so what we're going to need this week is crayons or markers or color pencils to add the color on the piece and create an illusion by adding value to your piece. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to fill in these stripes here with a black marker or black Sharpie or a black color pencil. We're going to create an alternating pattern of a black, white, piece. Okay, just like this one here. Okay, we need to fill in some of these areas, these stripes here, with black, and then after that we're going to decide, and we'll talk about complementary colors and high contrasting colors, so we can go ahead and fill in the white areas with that. Okay, so let's get started on filling in these stripes here in a black and white alternating pattern. Okay, so after we have finished creating the black and white stripe pattern on our op art piece, we are now going to talk a little bit about color, specifically complementary colors. Okay, so what in the world are complementary colors? Complementary colors are colors that sit across from each other on the color wheel. So when you put them next to one another, they create a high sense of contrast. Okay, so for an example, yellow and violet would be considered complementary because they are across from the color wheel. Blue and orange would be complementary. Red and green would be complementary as well. And even tertiary colors like red violet and yellow green would also be considered complementary. Okay, so when you place these colors next to one another, notice that there is a high sense of contrast, or they stand out. Okay, so for this project, I want you to at least use one set of complementary colors. So one set of complementary colors. So let me see if I can leave this here so you can look at it. There we are, as we color this piece. So complementary colors. All right, so now let's take out our materials. So to color this piece, you can use color pencils, crayons, or markers. Okay, I have some markers right here, and this is my example of a finished art piece that I had, but it was more of like a sample art piece. So the colors that I used to the right here, notice that they're very vibrant. I use markers for this op art piece here. Okay, If you want to use color pencils, this is an example of how it's going to look like. You can always press down a little bit harder to create that deeper shade. And this one over here is crayons. So they all have a little bit of a different effect on the piece. So I'm actually going to use all three materials on here so you can have an idea of how to add value and how to blend some of these colors together, okay? So for this one here, I'm going to use, actually for this one here, I'm going to use markers. So one complementary color set that I want to use is yellow and violet. So let me find the markers. Yellow and violet. And then we're going to shade the sides to make it seem like it's going back into space or popping forward to create that sense of contrast and that illusion. So I already finished my violet and yellow striped piece here with complementary colors. Now this is the fun part. Now we're going to add value and shade the side of the piece and add a highlight in the middle. And for this part, you're going to need either like a pencil to like add value, or you can use a black color pencil if you have one, or a black crayon, okay? So I'm actually going to use a black crayon for this, and then you're also going to need a white crayon or white color pencil to add the highlight in the middle. So let me go ahead and add a little bit of that value on there. Now you'll be able to recognize it a little bit better on the yellow because it's a lighter color. So notice I'm pressing down a little bit harder here where there's the crease or where the lines meet. And then I'm going to very gradually lift up. I want this to have value on the side as well. Adding value here, you're beginning to create that illusion so that it's like folding in, okay? And then if you have a white crayon or white color pencil, very gently you can add a little bit of that white in the middle here, and it should show up over the black because black and white together have a high sense of contrast. Okay, you can even press down a little bit harder if you want it to look like it's shiny, reflecting that light, and you can gradually lift your crayon as you're going towards the edges. Don't just scribble over everything. Really take your time on it and be selective with where you want these highlights to go with the white crayon or color pencil. Very lightly, now I'm doing this very lightly along the sides. And essentially, if you wanted to create this piece with color pencils, you would do the exact same thing. So you would just color everything in violet and yellow, and then you would just use the black color pencil to create the value and the white color pencil on top to create the value. And you would do the same thing with the crayons as well, if that's what you have at home, okay? I really like how this is looking. So I'm going to stick with markers and my highlights with the white crayon and black crayon, and I'm going to finish it off like that, okay? Okay, boys and girls, so I went ahead and just added the black color, so like the value along the sides of my op art piece, and then I just added white on the top here, and I really kind of blended it out to create that reflection or that illusion that the light is hitting it, so it looks more, it has form and it looks more 3D. Okay, so your goal is to finish this piece this week and send me a message on Teams with your piece, or actually better yet, just post it on Padlet. Okay, so post it on your teacher's Padlet page and you'll find it in your Teams page. And if you find that you're having issues uploading your piece on Padlet, you're going to have to show this piece to me the next time we meet. Okay, so I hope you all had fun. I know I had a great time creating this op art piece, and I'm really excited to see all of yours. Keep in mind that you need to have at least one complementary color combination. So I ended up using 2 right here. So I did the blue and the orange and the yellow and the violet. If you want to create yours just with 1, like let's say you wanted to make all of it with red and green, you can totally do that. But I just need to have at least 1 of these shapes filled with complementary colors. Okay? All right, looking forward to seeing what you create.